Alright, I think we're streaming. Mm, should be good. Mic's on. Music. Go! I'm using my laptop to see chat when I'm not working on the tablet, but it gives me ads on my own stream. The ads on Twitch are so obnoxious now. It's really bad. I don't blame people who just do VODs. I mainly just do VODs myself. So I totally support that. I hate ads completely. Okay, yeah, we're all good. The Gova's working. I haven't messed with Gova in a long time. He's just been there. I did restrict it to that bottom corner of the screen. I forget some of Gova's commands. I always forget the key bindings for Gova. But I wrote them down now, so let's see. And create an AI. Maybe I should do that so that we can have something else going. Because hardly ever anybody ever shows up to my stream, so let's make a bot for the fun of it. We can give gold, create slimes, raptors, harpies. We can reset. If I press Z, it will fire off some fireworks. Let's do that. That's what happens if you donate or give bits. It doesn't do it quite as many, but isn't that nice? Teleport, change borders. There's a few things I wanted to make. I want to make some changes to Goba. I'd like to make it to where I can actually just like left click and drag units around instead of using my teleport button, which my teleport button just teleports my own character around. So he can't go out of the restricted area, so you can kind of get an idea for where the restricted area is. It's just right here on the bottom. So we can go that high. Yeah, I'd like to be able to make it to where I can just pick up any person with the left button. Didn't mean to do that. I'd also like to make it to where you can dance. You can dance if you want to. That's one command I never messed with because it involves some artwork, but I should make like a dancing animation so that you can just type in dance if you want your character to start dancing. There was also a thing I never tried to get working, but making it to where you can like actually go fight people. I never did that, but maybe I should do that sometime. And I'd like to set up some sort of gambling system to where you can like spend your gold to earn more gold. Gamble it all the way. Alright. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, so here's what I've been working on. I don't remember how long it's been since I've streamed. It's probably been like about a week, right? Probably like 4 or 5 days. I've got quite a lot done. I ended up figuring out how the dynamic lighting works. The system that I had before, I tried to go back to the more complicated one, but the deeper I got into that tutorial, the more I started to realize that there's so many things that I'm not going to use. So I went back to the old one, the simple one, and I tried extra hard to make that one work, and I figured it out. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to like talk about all this stuff real quick, and then we'll open the game and look at it, and then after that I'm going to go into the code of how I got it to work. But basically, yeah, I was able to get the dynamic lighting working to an acceptable amount. And once I did that, I set it up for all the traffic, the lighthouse, the radio tower, the player, the enemies, the explosions. Ended up doing particles, so the sparks have lighting effects. It looks really nice now. I did a day-night cycle on the world map, and then I made it to where if it's night on the world map and you go into a stage, it's now night. and I have it to where it like smoothly transitions from day to night. I made it to where birds get turned off if it becomes night. And yeah, the thing where I change the skyboxes in the stage depending on what it is. I did ground shadows, which took me a little bit to understand, but yeah, once I saw, like I went through looking at like how to do ground shadows for a platformer kind of thing to where it like skews the image. Eventually I just came across some comment in a forum that was like, oh, just use draw position. I was like, duh. So what I thought was a hard problem turned into the simplest problem, and I'll show it. But it's actually really easy to do. Basically, using Game Maker Studio, there's a function that lets you draw things at a skewed angle. And once you have that, you can just place it where you want it to be, where the ground is. So that's cool. That was something that I just thought would be a lot harder, and it's super easy to do. So I need to put that in Gazzard as well. I've been making lots of notes for myself. I've actually went through all my coding notes, and I like reorganized it and made it look a lot nicer, where it's easier to find like the code I want. And I went through like all my games trying to find all the code that I use routinely, and just sorting everything. So I did that for a while. I did particles, and okay, so all that took like 2 days, maybe 2.5, but then particles was what I've been spending most of my time on these last couple days. It turns out doing particles is actually pretty simple, but getting them, it's a lot of like, there's a lot of fine tuning, right? Like it's easy to make the particles and have them do something, but to do what you want is just a lot of trial and error, unless you've done it before, I guess. But it's not too bad. It took a lot of like, okay, let's change this value and let's make it go a little higher, and let's do this, or this one lasts too long, it's got to last shorter. So constantly like run the game, all right, go back out, make a change, run the game, go back out, make a change. And then I had some big problems with trying to like draw particles to a surface. I still don't really understand how it works, and you'd think that you could Google that and find an answer real easy, but nah, you really can't. At least all the Googling and looking at the Reddit subreddit and the Game Maker forums, nobody talks about drawing particles to surfaces. And I still don't really get it, but after a while I was like, I know a way that I can cheat this, and I don't even have to bother with it. So I just abandoned the idea of drawing to surfaces, and I'll show my solution for that later. But yeah, I ended up making bubbles. I did a dust particle effect, which I'm not even using, so I don't even know why it's on here. I think I just abandoned the idea of making dust because all my grounds are a different color, so the dust would have to change colors, and there's no easy way to blend it that it looks right. So I don't even think I'm going to use dust. The sparks look really nice. I like sparks. The splash effect is okay, and I ended up having to draw a whole new splash animation because I couldn't get the particles to do what I wanted. So I just drew an animation after a while. I just said screw it. I made the oxygen meter for when you're in the first upgrade, and I'm not 100% happy with it, but it's functional, and I'm not sure what I want to do to change it. So I'm just gonna leave it as is for now. Maybe I'll think of something later. It's such a like minor part of the game too. Once you get your first upgrade, it goes away, so you don't really use it anymore. I don't know. I mean, it probably doesn't matter too much. I made the anchor, and I made this chain thing, which I found something that does work. It's just it only goes in a straight line. The ones that use like physics, you have to do like a lot to make physics work, and it's like it seemed kind of unnecessary. So kind of like with dynamic lighting, I just I went with the dumbest solution, and I'm just gonna stick with that because it's so functional, and I don't really see a reason setting up this whole physics thing. I did it for a while, but I don't know. It wasn't really looking that great anyway. So I ended up just abandoning that, and I went for figuring out how to make like a tiling sprite. which was a lot easier to find how to do, and it's real simple. Alright, so we're on the streaming step. Oh, what happened? Move that there. There we go. And what I'm thinking I'm going to end up doing after I show all this stuff is we'll move on to doing stages, and then we'll make the alien, and maybe we'll balance it, or I don't know. But let me go ahead and hit play and we'll look at this. Before that, I almost forgot, I need to change my, where is it? Scaffolding, initialize. Oh yeah, I figured out how to make the debug overlay show up, and it's just by typing this little bit of code right here. Let me zoom in one. Yeah, just type that little bit of code. If you want to turn on anti-aliasing or VSync, you can type in this bit of code, but this was causing like really bad frame loss. I don't know what's going on there. I turned VSync on because I've been having a lot of screen tearing, but it just like the frames dropped so bad I had to turn it back off. I'll end up looking up what's going on with that later. So I'm just turning it off for now. And then this randomized code is, I think, what's supposed to make it to where random events are actually random if you're testing the game. So I turned that on because I don't really have a reason not to have that on. I think I added some new globals here. I might have just added them and then deleted them, to be honest. There's a time and a night box for the, oh yeah man, that was a while ago, for the day-night cycle, but here's the part I want is room go-to needs to be the world map. Turn that off. I like this style of, I mean, it's a little aggravating. In Galzard, I've just got it on a hotkey where you go to a test room if you press a button, which I could do that too. But just swapping between these two, I find to be a really good way of testing, and it's not too bad. And then you don't have to press any button, and you go straight to the room that you actually want when you test the game. So I kind of like this style as well. They both kind of have their own benefits. All right, let's hit play. Alright, so let the game load. So day-night cycle. Actually, we're not even really going to be able to test that because it's based on I've got it set to a 24-minute cycle. So you can think of the 24 minutes as like 24 hours. And yeah, I just set it up like that. So once it gets around 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, it starts getting darker. And it goes just like Gazard. It has a dusk phase, a day phase, a night phase, a dawn phase, but unlike Gazard, the dusk and the dawn are really just transitions from fully bright to dark. This little bit up here just shows the current FPS we're getting, and if it ever shoots into like red or this yellow bar expands too far, we know we're getting like bad optimization. I looked up some optimization tutorials too. So I got a better idea of like what causes the game to run poorly. So I have made a few mistakes, but it turns out the if statements that I've been using really don't matter that much as I thought they did. It's more like anything that's drawing something. Collisions are one of the worst things. And then anything that refers to another, it has to like open up another object's code to figure out what parameters are in that, and then go back to the normal code. That causes like a loss of frames. And then just drawing lots of objects. So I think I'm still kind of good, but I have noticed some like bad frame loss in like certain areas with the dark lighting on it. Okay, so we had all the traffic stuff done before, just dynamic lighting. So let's go in here. So I had to get rid of the light ray thing because it was breaking my particles. Oh yeah, there's the shadow down here, which is very simple sort of thing. If you get close to the ground, it draws a shadow. Only a couple enemies actually draw shadows. This is the bubble thing. A lot of things happening real quick. I don't like that it's kind of hard to see in really bright areas like that. It looks good in the dark. So I need to maybe do something to where it shifts colors even more to be more obvious. Or I do like a little background behind it. I haven't quite figured that out. This anchorizing is the chain thing that I was talking about. And this is basically what's telling the game how long you're going to be in the stage. So this is just a physical representation of when the stage ends, which is one of the ideas I had, and I was able to get it working. When things die, they create sparks and bubbles. The player produces bubbles every now and then. So yeah, bubbles just go up. There's a splashing effect when you're on the surface, and certain enemies also cause that splashing effect. There's just a ton of stuff to talk about. Try to run through this before this timer goes off on me. But is there anything else with this? Nothing really. It's just this like bubble meter thing, which, yeah, this is the thing I was talking about. I'm not too sure about. Like, it looks really good in darker areas like this. So one of the things I had to do, I changed the skybox, which I think I need to raise it up like another pixel or two. Oops, I died. Because it's still kind of leaking below the surface. But yeah, I changed the skybox to be a more precise line, and because like I couldn't figure out how to get particles to draw to surfaces, I just make the bubbles go behind the skybox, so that way they don't go above the surface. That was my cheat. So see, the bubbles just seem to disappear there. Actually, they keep drawing as they go all the way to the top of the screen. But yeah, any like particles underwater just can't, they go behind the skybox, and then anything splashing is on its own depth, which is above the water. So that was my cheat for, instead of drawing surfaces or figuring that out, that's how that works. Also, yeah, if I kill an enemy near the surface, we'll do that. It creates that giant like wave explosion. So that works. I did a lot of things with that. I tried to make the surface change colors when it explodes so that it turns white, but it affects the entire surface and it looks weird, so I abandoned that. I tried doing that entire explosion thing using only particles, and it just didn't look right no matter what I was doing, so I ended up having to draw that thing. I tried drawing the splash thing that looked a little more realistic, but it just didn't really fit in the game. So I ended up just going full white. I don't know if I'm too happy with it, but it looks okay, and it's probably acceptable enough. And I kind of want to move away from it. It looks kind of nice. It's kind of cool that you got this big, like, splash effect. And if it had sound effects to it, it'd probably be even more impactful. Just, it feels good to blow up enemies close to the surface, so that's nice. Alright, there's all that. Let's go to the next upgrade. So yeah, the bubble thing turns off once you get this upgrade. That's good. Thing on the ground, you can see fish have cast shadows, so that's all good. This timer seems about right. It's kind of based on distance to the ground, so in the shallows it's going to be a lot shorter of a timer. But once the screen is like twice as big, it'll take a lot longer for it to get back to the ship, and then if it's 3 times as big. So it's kind of like a dynamic timer for how long stages work. Makes it kind of hard to test things, but I think this is about the right amount of time you'd want to be in a stage. Alright, so this is the suit. I gave it this spark effect, which occasionally shoots off like random sparks that go flying. Kind of how explosions work. And it's got these like, it makes bubble propulsion. This is really fun. I like this. This turned out really good. So that's how that particle works. Happy with that. And then this one, kind of same thing, just it does a little bit more. The explosions create bubbles, which looks really cool. The explosions also generate light, which we'll test that when I go into an area that's actually got dynamic lighting turned on. But for now, I just wanted to show all this stuff and see how it works. But cool, let's go somewhere. Let's actually destroy these upgrades real quick. There we go. So we start at the basic. Let's go somewhere with lighting. So in the sea, It doesn't, I think it does get dark when you get in the bottom, but it's not that much. But we can look at it. So it'll turn on once it gets dark enough. There we go. So lights turn on, enemies glow. I ended up making enemies glow because in the pure darkness, it's just too hard. They come in a little too fast. I also made it to where bullets can be spammed. I like redid how the bullets work, which before, it's hard to explain, but you couldn't really spam the button very well with the auto fire. I just made it to where you can spam the button, and the spam kind of works in sync with the auto fire. It's hard to explain, but it basically, shooting bullets just feels better when you have auto fire. So you can either hold the button, but if you spam the bullets, you can fire out all your bullets at once faster, basically. So you can see there's like this frame drops, but it's never going below 60, so I don't know what's going on with it. I think it might be just to do with testing the game. But the game doesn't seem to like the lighting system very well, because it definitely causes lagging when it turns on. So I'm not quite sure if that's going to be a problem or not. I mean, I'll just have to look at it later on. One thing I can do is I never restricted the light to be... Oh, I'm about to die. I never restricted the light to be based on just the area of the camera you can see. So if I turned off drawing anything above here, that might improve performance as well as a solution. But for now, I'm just going to ignore it and fix it later. I don't really know what the problem is, looking at how the debug works. It shouldn't be as framey as it is, which makes me think it might just be the test runner that's causing that issue, or maybe a background process. Alright, let's go to the deep sea, where we can get real dark. Big old shark. He's a big one. Oh, and he's got a lot of health. Stupid. Alright, I don't want to get out of this stage with the alien in it. Alright, so let's see what this looks like when it gets real dark. There we go. So in the pitch black, you can see if there's not proper lighting on the enemies, it's very hard to see. Like if one just come up behind you. The anglerfish are still completely black until they get I just died. Until they get to a certain distance. So they're spooky, they just appear out of nowhere like that. In the dark, like that. You gotta be real careful with the anglerfish. I increased the range at which they activate quite a bit to account for that, but it's still pretty... If you're moving too fast, you're gonna get screwed over by the anglerfish. Alright, so yeah, this all good. This one's got a bigger light. And then if I can hit some bullets, you'll see me fell. There we go. They create little flashes as well. Why did I get... Oh, right. I never turned this timer off. That's why I keep getting kicked out of the screen so early, before the anchor rises. I need to remember to do that. Yeah, there's some bad performance stuff going on. I don't know, I think the splashes are all fine. It looks about right. I think the anglerfish's light might be a little too bright, but it's okay. Okay, and then finally this one. So this one you have the best amount of light, but it's a bigger hitbox, so you gotta be careful. Yeah, the frame drops are just really bad. Like a lot worse than I thought it was. Maybe it's because I have the stream on as well. I know that shaders and stuff, or dynamic lighting stuff, maybe it's the particles. They're based off of GPU instead of, yeah, or they're based off like graphics card instead of computing process. Maybe that's what's going on. My computer is a bit older. I don't know. Wow, yeah, what the hell? Is it because I'm creating all these particles? I think it's because I'm streaming. It's just way worse. I don't remember it being this bad. I'll have to figure that out. I think making sure that anything that's not on screen doesn't draw would help a lot, but I'm not quite sure about that. Alright, well that's how all that works. Let's see how much time we got. Oh yeah, this isn't even close. It's a very slow timer. I might even need to like decrease that by half. So to see the day-night stuff, I gotta set it up. So if I set time to be, I don't remember my numbers anymore. I think it's like, if I set this at 60,000, will be just before it starts getting dark. Also, my scene didn't change over, I'm just saying. I don't know why that is. Oh, there it goes. Weird. Is it? Can you see it now? There we go. Alright. I mean, we're just waiting for it to get dark. I think this is one of the best places to be for when it gets dark, because you can see the lighthouse will turn on, the radio tower will turn on. If there's a car along this road, which I made a lot rarer. But yeah, if there's a car here, you'll be able to see how the lights work. So, just wait for it to get dark. It should get dark at 64. For a little bit longer. Alright, should start getting darker now. There it goes. So yeah, see the lighthouse turns on. There's a car with this light, and then the radio tower. You see, you can see like the tail lights. Looks really nice at night. I think it's fully dark now. So we can go look at the rest of the map. I put this yellow thing around the ship just as like a lamp to help you see. And there's like the traffic. I think it looks pretty nice. I like the lighthouse a lot. Alright, so if I go into a stage now, it should give me a night background. There it is, it's got the sparkling stars. And you can see we've already got the lights turned on, even in the shallows, so I just made it to where the lights turn on at a shorter depth, basically. At a smaller depth. It being dark does make it harder to see the bubble meter. Also increase the distance that enemies go off the screen before they die, because otherwise they were kind of dying at a point where you can see them explode. That wasn't good. That was one of the things I did. So yeah, at night you've got the dark skybox, which I don't even think it's set up on this one, right? Yeah, it still has day. But yeah, it just gets darker faster. Yeah, being in the water with the snorkel and it's dark, it's still extremely dangerous. because you can't see anything except for like what's right next to you. And that's one of the reasons I just made all the enemies glow. And crabs also, if they're not carrying anything, they're completely dark. So if you go to the bottom, you can just die to a crab that you can't see until it's too late. So I think that's about it. I think we talked about everything. So we can start fixing all these stages. I'm gonna keep it I'll keep it there because that's a good amount of like daylight tonight. And I'll change that back to 0 later. Oh yeah, screen changed, right? Good. Alright, so that was the anchoring chain I talked about, oxygen meter, the different particles, ground shadows. Yeah, I think I showed off everything. So now we're going to fix all these stages. And to do that, I just got to go through all these stage spawners. But to do that, we need all the backgrounds. I ended up consolidating all the light boxes into the ones that I needed, because it seemed silly to have the extra ones. So just one day to work for all of them. And then there's an extra night with the oil rig and a night with the meteor. And all the stages should use these skyboxes. One of them. Oh yeah, before doing stages, I gotta show all the code for all that. So let's do that real quick. That's right, I just talked about it, but I never showed how I did it. Alright, so starting from the top, light render. This is how I did dynamic lighting. So I create the player's light source. This thing's set at -1, so it's on top of most things. This is kind of like where the light is, where the shadow is drawn on top. In the draw event, we create this lighting surface. I showed most of this the last time, but to get it to work the right way, the key difference is I had to draw this. So when drawing the color, just draw it at 0.1 bigger, and that seems to fill in the area that was it wasn't drawing color. So that was one of the things I did to fix. The other thing to fix was Sprite's effects. No. Oh, here we go, lights. So the other thing I did is, for this, just lower the opacity to 60%, so it's not completely white in the center. And that way it doesn't obscure what's underneath it. And that was my fix for that. And I did several ones at like 100%, so that's what it actually looked like. But if you put this on top, you wouldn't be able to see what's underneath it. And this one was 80%, but the 60% I ended up liking the most, so that's what I used like for everything, I think. For the scuba stuff, yeah, you have to draw them as the same sprite because they don't overlap well. So that was what I ended up doing, is I drew this light that's around the player, and then I drew the light that's the flashlight attached to it. So that's how I did those. Ended up having to draw all that. And yeah, that's kind of how it works. For the player one, it's got a little bit of wobble on it, but not much. Actually, I don't even think it has any wobble on it, because I don't know if I changed this value at all. So I could probably cut all this out of the code, which I should definitely do, right? Let me look at the player light source. Player light source, create. So it's got a depth, scale, image X scale and Y scale. I want to change that. It follows the player. It changes direction based off of what the player's direction is. Okay, I put wobble in here. So they've each got their own unique color, intensity, and wobble that I did through code instead of using the variable definitions. So yeah, just depending on what upgrade you're in, I did all this custom to make it look right, so I didn't have to do it in the objects. And I can create this object with the initialize or when I create the room. That's how that works. So I do still use the wobble. coloring intensity. For the sparks, I think sparks might be too big. And I should probably decrease this by like half, the image X scale and Y scale. But I'm not going to touch it for now. I can do that later. Jellyfish, octopus, and like I said, add 0.1 to the color to make it fill out the full circle. And that works. These are all basically, yeah, just values that worked and look good. The turtle, its color goes away as you shoot at it. I didn't really show that, but yeah, it's really bright when it's got lots of meteorite fragments on its back, and as you shoot them off, as its HP drops, it loses more and more colors until it's completely gone. Same thing for the crab. So yeah, when these guys, when the turtle has 0 HP or the crab has no loot on his back, you can't actually see him in the dark. And for the explosions, these are a bit different. So I use this clamp based on the image index of what the explosion's at, and it's clamped between 0.2 and 0. And this is basically how I got the explosion to start off real bright and then it fades out. So just like the explosion itself, the light just kind of flashes and then fades out. So that's how explosions work. All the explosions are kind of like that. So it has that like poppy look to it and fade out. As far as turning it on slowly, it's based off of this night box, or it's based off like the player's Y. I had to lower this number a lot, 0.0004. But yeah, it's just clamping a value that I'm setting here based on what the night box is. So the night box being like 1 is it's completely on and it's nighttime, and being 0 is it's daytime. And there's in-betweens for if you go in like while it's still at 0.5. But yeah, that just kind of adds on to the value, and it clamps that value between 0 and 1 because we don't want the alpha to be higher than 1, we don't want it to be lower than 0. So that's how I kind of get that to work. This is the whole time thing for the surface. I don't know. It's hard to explain after I've gotten it all working. Here's the one for the stages, so same kind of thing here, copy and pasted, but I have this step event for using the time. So if global time is greater than 86398, which, okay, so 86400 is 24 minutes? Yeah. So why I chose 2 frames below it is, well, if it's greater than this, then it's at 399, right? So if it's at 399, then it needs to go 1 more to get to 400. So this is setting it back to 0 is that 1 more. So this just makes it precisely 86400 if you take those 2 out. So there's 1 to account for this greater than. I could use greater than equals to 99. I could use equals to, but I find that tends to screw up, because if this thing actually went to like 86401, it would never trigger. So this just ensures that it does trigger, and it should trigger at the right time. But yeah, if it's not above this number, it's just going to add up, and if it ever gets that number, it sets back to 0. So this is how I did global time in Gizzard. If it's above 63900, this is when the night box starts to rise. So I start adding night box. Night box is the alpha value of night, basically. So I start increasing the alpha value, which puts that dark color on. And if global time is greater than 0 and global time is less than 50,000, which it's becoming day again. Global night box is greater than 0, then we're going to subtract from night box, so it becomes day. That's how that works. And I have my time values up here to tell me what everything is. I never ended up doing any like hue shifting stuff, which I don't know. I maybe should have done that, but I got so sick of doing this by the time I got to it. I just got lazy. So maybe I'll do the hue shifting thing for Gizzard, but for this one I think this is fine. It looks good enough. I don't really need to change colors. Lighting surface. So most of this is basically the same, just a bit simpler as far as the Nightbox stuff is concerned. This is the ship's light source, radio light, lighthouse. I don't think there's much to this. The radio light has a growing and shrinking light, so that's how that works. It's just based off of this scale that grows and shrinks. Lighthouse spins around at an angle, and I just changed the angle of the object itself, which is an effect. No, this is world map. Lighthouse. So this thing just spins around at image angle minus equals 0.1 because that's what looked good. I ended up going with the first sprite that I did, and I deleted the other two, which is kind of like a mix of white and yellow. I thought it looked the best. Radio light. Its scale just is set to half. Pulse is 0.001. If scale is less than 0 and it's greater than 0.5, we reverse the direction of the pulse. Scale plus equals pulse. So this way it climbs to a certain size and then it reverses directions and shrinks to a certain size. So that's what that does. Nothing big on these, it's just how the headlight stuff works. And then I put in here, depending on what sprite index it currently is which tail light it'll have on. But that all works great. Had to do it for all the different types of traffic, and that's it for that. Looked at that. Nothing really to look at there. So explosions, we can look at that real quick. Enemy explosion. So the way this works is if Y is less than 375, so if it's close to the top of the screen, it'll create this surface explosion object at the correct value. The surface explosion is kind of like the normal explosions. It's got a surface draw area, but its surface draw area is only above the water. So that's why you can only see it above the water based on whatever size it randomly chooses. And that's kind of how it works. It uses this particle thing, which I'll go into more detail later. But basically it's creating these particles, particle splash 2. It's making 50 of them when this goes off. Yeah, creates it up there. The draw is just drawing this sprite, and this is how surfaces work. We've done this before. Animation ends, it destroys itself. Same thing kind of works with the enemy explosion. Only difference here is now this thing creates sparks. So any part system is underwater, and then any part system surface is above the water. Yeah, creates sparks, it creates bubbles, 50 and 30. It creates this 10 of these instance depth orange sparks, which these are actually objects that kind of look like particles. You can't get... Your particles have like a basic moving style, and they're drawn by the graphics card. So you can draw like lots of particles without having a lot of frame issues. That's why I use particles. But sometimes you have to actually make an object, or make a particle an object if you want it to do fancy stuff, like have lighting or move in random directions. You can do some of that through the particle thing, but it was easier here to just make an object. These spark objects here. So these got 3 values: a next, a kill, the direction is a random direction, image angle follows the direction, speed is a random speed, the scale of it is a different size, the image X scale and Y scale is based off the scale we picked. Step, if not kill, if not next. So this is how it starts, faults and faults. So if these are A1, 2, and 3 are the different alpha levels. So it starts alpha 1 all the way. So if A1 is greater than 0, it's going to lower the number 1 until it gets to 0. If alpha 2 is less than 1 and A1 is less than 0.5, so basically halfway to this one getting to 0, it's going to start turning the other alpha will start going up. And then once the other alpha is all the way up and the first alpha is all the way down, it goes to the next thing. So next gets turned on, so now we're over here, and this is going from alpha 2 to alpha 3, same process. And then once alpha 3 is all the way on, kill equals true, which skips all of this and goes to the bottom one. Now we're turning this alpha off, and once that alpha is off, it destroys itself. So that was kind of complicated to figure out, but basically we're going from one color, shifting to the next color, and then shifting to the next color, and then turning this one off, and then destroying. That's what all that means. Direction plus equals a random range, negative 25 to 25, so it just starts around. It doesn't go, if you make it completely random, it will look really bad. But if you make the direction just change in like an angle, it actually just has this look like a little spark that's like a little firecracker. It's zooming around. Image angle equals direction. So there you go. The draw is just based on these colors. So I used a white sprite for spark. I don't even know if I ended up using the orange one. I do have an orange sprite in here, but I don't think I even used it, so it doesn't even matter. I'll probably delete it. But yeah, I draw them at these different alpha levels, and the alphas just turn off and on. Using the dynamic lighting thing I had before, I'm looking for this object. So this thing does actually create light. Okay, that's all of that. I mean, a lot of this I don't think is that difficult. Like as far as shallow spawner, if the global time is less than this, it's daytime, so create a day skybox. This is where I used to create the light rays object, but I've gotten rid of it. So it just makes a daytime skybox, and then if it's nighttime, it will create a nighttime skybox, and then it will create this light render object, which will... So there's no reason even doing a light render in the day for the shallows, because it's just always bright. But at night, I have to create this object. Yeah, that's really all that is. Transitions, lighting changes, birds. I mean, you can kind of figure out how I just the same way I just did that. That's how I turn birds off. So if it's in the nighttime, it's a global variable. So I just check to see if it's night. If it's night, then they don't trigger. It's kind of like how anything that is like that. The helicopter's the same way. It doesn't fly. It can be flying when it turns night, but it can't be night and then it flies. Like at night, its alarm doesn't work. So that's how that works. Okay, particles. Let's look at that. Actually, not that difficult. And in fact, I should show this while I'm thinking about it, because this tutorial was absolutely fantastic. I think it's this guy. Yeah, it's this guy. Alright, I'll go find this. Alright, so turn that off, turn this on. Game Maker Station. This is a new one that I found. Game Maker Station Matharu. He has this particles in Game Maker Studio 2. It's one of the best tutorials I've seen for particles. He's got a funny voice. But the way he explains things and shows them is just a beautiful tutorial. So I highly recommend it if you're looking for particles. All the ones I looked at That one was just like, oh man, okay, I totally get it. So it worked for me. Is it going to turn my screen back on? What's going on? I have turned you on. Please work. Okay, I don't know why it's not capturing the window anymore. There it goes. It should come on. Alright, cool. So yeah, particles. This is how particles work, which is a script. Particle initialize. So you do this region, and then you make a variable, p. Oh, I think I understand how these variables work now. They're just like, these are variables that do not leave the code. And I think the reason people do this is the thing that I was talking about before. If you have to go to another thing's code, you have to open up like another text document or something to find what that is. And I think that causes just like the smallest amount of like lag, or the smallest amount of I don't know, frame drops, which is in small numbers is very unnoticeable, but if you do it too much, it's going to start lowering the performance of the game. So I think this is just a good practice, because this variable, it doesn't have to leave the code to figure out what it is. It's just right in here. So I should probably start doing this and start identifying when I should use normal variables like particle, which I don't even think you can make a normal variable in this because it's a script. Oh, you can. Yeah, that's a normal variable. But this is the kind of variable that like you can create in another place and then pull it. And then this is the type of variable which you can make in a place and pull it from any other object, right? So basically they're just like different steps of how deep you want to go to get that value. And I think it's a good idea to use the smallest possible to do what you need to do. So if you don't ever need to go to a different like event to figure out what this is, then you should just use these kind of variables. I think that's my understanding of why these variables are used so much and why I should start using them. So next project I'll do that, and this project, if that frame drop is so bad, I'll go through all my code and fix that, but that's kind of how it works. Okay, part type create. This is making a particle. Anything that's part type is just making a particle. So we created a particle and we set it as P, and then part type sprite. So we're taking P, this part that we made, we're setting it to S bubble, and then yeah, all this value stuff's just down here. This is whether that animation animates, whether we stretch it, whether it's got a random thing. Part type life is taking the variable that we've created. So all this is just changing the values of this variable, and then we save it as a global. It's kind of how all this works. So life is the lifetime of the object. So I've set it to be 300 frames. This is bubbles, so that's how bubbles work. So they last for 300 frames and then they die. The alpha, this is alpha 3. There's alpha 1, 2, and 3. 1 means it's going to have one alpha level. 2 is going to be going from one alpha to another alpha, and 3 is going from one alpha to another alpha to another alpha. So I've used 3 to just stay 1 for 2/3 of the particle life, and then for the last third it starts to fade out. Particle size, it's between 0.1 and 0.3, and then these other ones is like whether the size increases or decreases while it's there, but I don't want that. I just want it to be a random size between 0.1 and 0.3. The speed at which it comes out in whatever direction it is set between 0 and 1. So yeah, you can kind of see how all this works. It's just like it's giving you a lot of values to do exactly what you want the particle to do, and then you just figure it all out. The direction that it comes out, so bubbles come out in this kind of arc above, or at least this type of bubble. I've got lots of different types of bubbles. because you gotta like create new ones for different effects. So this is just normal bubbles like coming out of a breather or whatever. So they come out at this kind of like angle, and then they have a gravity, which the gravity is up, so they're constantly being pulled up to the surface basically. Kind of like how bubbles work. So the gravity's 0.0, 0.5 or whatever, 0.05. Yeah, all this is just that. And how did I get these numbers? I constantly went into the game and I tested it, and then I saw that, oh, this needs to be changed. And I did that over and over again, so that's how this was. So I did it for this, I did it for this. This is explosion bubbles. This is play bubble, which this is the player bubbles that he creates. There's a suit bubble when he's going right, so these fire out to the right. I don't know if there's a way to put a modifier on this. There probably is, but I just did left and right because that was easy enough to just copy and paste it, reverse the values. It seemed easy enough that I didn't have to do more. And then there's, for the suit, the different sparks. They fire to the left or right. The splash effect, so that's how it works. It's using my dust particle because that one kind of looked like water. There are a lot of like Game Maker specific ones, which is, I don't even remember what they're called. They're like PT basic shape, yeah, PT shape. And then you've got all these type of ones that come in Game Maker Studio: circles, clouds, disc, explosions, flares. I didn't use any of this. I used the ones I drew, but those are in there. We've got enemy sparks. We've got bullet sparks. So bullet sparks are just yellow to light gray, white, yellow, light gray. Enemy sparks are white, orange, yellow. So that's how that works. And then you do invasion, and that's it for the script part. And then for drawing the particles themselves, you create this global part system. So I've got two of them because I got two layers of that particles can be drawn on. And then you create the depth that the particle is at. So my first one is at 200, so it's behind the sky. And my second one is at 2, which is in front of the sky, but still behind certain things. And yeah, I draw anything above the surface of the water on this one, anything below the surface of the water. That was my way of getting around surfaces and making it easier. You do this cleanup. You only do the cleanup on one object, the object that you build this stuff on. I figured that out because I had a while where nothing was working and I didn't know why, and that's because I was cleaning it up in multiple places. So I think you only have to do the cleanup on the one object where you set all this stuff up at. And that's just destroying the system. And then step event. I've got this particle thing where if you click the left mouse button, this was for testing, it'll just create these particles. So this is kind of how this works. Particles create global particle system. So which system you're creating it on. The X and Y coordinate you want it to come out at, and then what global particle from the script you want, and then how many of them that you want to make. That's basically it. There's nothing on the draw event here. Restart, keypad. I think I moved a bunch of my commands over to the camera. While I was like cleaning up all my code, I figured out the best way to make like an ultimate command object. Because before all my games, I end up making like a camera thing. I make these different like spawners. I make all these different objects that are like background objects that control things. But it's kind of silly when you can just have one object, which is more optimal, like the camera, which there's always going to be a camera in every room, right? So I should just make cameras that can do all the things that I would want to do. So I figured out what's all the things. I combined all my controller objects together. I still have this one split up because the cameras and this does a different thing, right? So I didn't want to combine this part of it, but I could do something like that to make the camera, depending on where you're going, does all this extra stuff. But seeing as I already had it in two objects, I didn't feel like combining this stuff. But that's why I have two controller objects right now, and I think I've got it all condensed down to just that. There's still this light render thing, which I could also combine, which I think I did combine in the new one that I created. So, coding notes, ultimate controller object. Let's look at this. So this is the ultimate controller object that I created. Basically trying to make an object that can do the camera, can do lighting system, can do spawning, system controls, time, color. I'm just trying to get everything into this one object. So to create the depth that things get drawn at, because this object does create like lighting, spawning, UI stuff. So it does have a depth, even though it's technically an invisible object. Creates this application surface, lighting surface. Basically, I'm just telling it to do all the things that I normally do. I forgot what the camera's following. I've thrown zooming and screen shaking in here, and I don't know if the type of game would need it, but it's all just in here and I can delete it later. I threw the color picker, that object that I create to figure out colors. It's in here now, so I can just use it. I've got this settings button. Global part system, I create it, and then I set up the depth for it, which by default is just -100. I got the cleanup for the particle system. I've got all the stuff for, this is parallaxing. So this is how parallaxing works, but this only works for normal backgrounds. So keep that in mind. I don't know if it'll work for instances. It might. If I change this to like an instance ID, it might work. But I don't know. And this is how you get it to move in parallax. And I made lots of comments to understand how this stuff works. This is all the camera control stuff. This is for zooming. So zoom out changes these camera widths and heights. Shake, well, that's zoom out. For screen shake, I just move these values in random directions, and that's how you shake the screen if it's activated. This is turned on. This is all the global time stuff, so I've just made like a generic clock kind of based off what I did this time around. This is the color picker stuff. So I end up setting up, I used my F keys, so F1 is to turn settings on and off. And then once it's turned on, it'll create this like box that you can use F2, F3, F4, all the way to F6 to change the color of the box. So basically I put that color picker object on a hotkey that I can turn on and off. So that's how that works. And this global color is something you can assign to anything that you want to change colors of. So you can use that to change the colors real time. It even displays the values in the draw event, so you can see what they are and write them down. Set up particles, set up pausing, which I don't know if I'll end up using this. I might turn it off, but it's in here. Draw event stuff. If there's a pause, it does that. All the surface stuff, the light source, it's all in here. And then key presses for I is what I used to do screen shake. O for zoom. R is usually game restart. T is for going to a test room. Keypad 1 turns the game off, and keypad 3 swaps between full screen and not full screen. The only thing I didn't throw in here is initialize stuff, and I've got initialize stuff on its own object because that's not really something that's in every room. This is just something right at the beginning of the game. So I've got all this stuff that's in here by default is in here, and then I got a few like extra values just to play with. So yeah, kind of what I was talking about when I said I went through and cleaned up all my code. I've just got it all in here of anything I can need. Shader, blur, drawing, because my memory is so bad I forget most of the stuff every time I take a month off of anything. So this is my way of solving that problem, and I've been building this up over my time doing this, Not to a very great degree, but I think it's at a pretty good degree now, so I'm happy with it. So I tried to, like, I didn't merge everything, but I did merge some stuff. Alright. So I think that was all the particle stuff, and then the rest of the particle stuff is just where do you want particles to be made? The player makes the most particle stuff. So honestly, his main particle stuff is like on his entrance when he is hits the water here. So when his Y is less than 265 but still greater than 245, within those 20 coordinates or whatever, it's not frames because he moves at a certain speed, but during that little period it repeats this particle creation for splash effects at that area, creates 50 of them. So this repeats twice to make it, that was just to make it make more particles because it wasn't creating enough. Which honestly is kind of silly when it can just, I could have just set this to 100, right? Why didn't I just set this to 100? Maybe because the repeat makes it happen at one frame and then at the next frame. And it looked better? I don't know. Maybe that was just stupidity. I don't want to change it, so fuck it. If Y is greater than 255, so you're below the surface of the water, you create a bunch of bubbles. So it splashes above the water and it creates bubbles when it goes in the water. Testing that because it happened real fast before, but you can see exactly what I'm doing when I do that. So make sure the screen loads. There we go. Alright, so when I press space, you'll see him do his little flip off the boat, and then just watch what happens when he hits the water. Splash and then bubbles. Alright, so that's all that is doing. Splash above the screen and bubbles below the screen. So that's what all this does. And that was just a lot of like testing to get it looking acceptable, which I think the splash is kind of acceptable. It's not great, but it looks okay. So whatever. There's some splash effects for if you're at the surface of the water. It's creating these little splashes. I didn't make it be too much. I even drew like a sprite that I tried using, which is still in here as some extra. This is just like a sprite animation that plays when you're at the water. I don't know if I'll use this. It didn't seem necessary for the player. It might be good for like a shark fin or for the alien. So that's why I haven't removed this object, but I'm not sure if I'll end up using this or not. But that was just to make the, I don't know, something breaching the water look a little better. And I ended up not even using it for the player. This is everything for doing the oxygen meter. So I just got like this warning. Oxygen, I already had this code in there, but yeah, I'm just figuring out when your bubbles get low, it starts flashing from red to whatever the standard bubble color is, which it can swap from aqua color to white, depending on if you're above or below the surface. That was gonna make it a little easier to see, but it's still kind of iffy. And then the draw event. This is everything to do with that meter. So if it's above 900, it's creating at these values. And then it's the image X scale and Y scale are based off of this division and subtraction. And then the alpha level is also based off of that. So that's why it fades out and shrinks before disappearing and going to the next one. Gotta do all this to set all that stuff up. Once it gets below 300 or 400, basically when there's only 3 bubbles left, is when it starts flashing red to let you know you're in danger. And I might play a sound, though I know sounds can get really annoying. I'm thinking of like, oh man, what are the games that have like really annoying underwater sounds when you're running out of breath? There's definitely a bunch of iconic ones. I think Sonic definitely had one. There's a, oh, what's that game called? What is that game called? The one where you crash on an alien planet that's all water. Why can't I think of the name of it? I don't know. The one with the peepers in it. Can't think of the name. I keep thinking of Phasmophobia. I know that's not it. But that's the name that my brain has presented to me, and it won't accept anything else. Like, no, that's it, dude. It's like, no, it really isn't. What is that game called? Okay, it's driving me crazy. What is that stupid game called? Why can't I think of it? I beat it. I should know the name of it. I don't even think I have it on Steam. It was on Oculus. So I can't even access it to see what the name of it is. And it's really not important, but I just hate not being able to think of names. One of my curses. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance is out. Dark Alliance 2. I played the first one. I really liked that game. Back on PlayStation 2, right? That was a good game. Though it wasn't as good as Neverwinter Nights. Alright, I don't remember the name of it. It's got something like water in the name, probably. And everybody knows what it is, except for me right now. What I'm thinking. Alright, anyway. So, all this is basically the same. This is what I did to get the gun thing working. I created this reload value, and this reload, basically if reload is greater than 0, it just decreases it to get it back to 0. And that's what I had to do to get it to where you can't fire too fast. Or the firing on normal presses, it has to wait like 10 frames, I think it's 0.5. So it has to wait 10 frames before the auto fire will go off again, right? Otherwise, it would have, when you press the button, the direct would also activate, so it would fire a bullet and fire another bullet right after it, right? And that's not good. So it's got to wait at least 10 frames before it fires that next bullet off. But also, the distance to the last object needs to be up. So that's just, I don't know. This made it work. These are bubbles that are on a timer. When the timer gets to a certain target, then it will create bubbles. There's this random chance that it'll just create a bubble, a singular bubble, but the chance is only like 1 in 100. So every now and then the character will just make a random bubble, because that looks nice. This is the suit stuff. I attach the spark stuff to when he's moving. So it plays sparks, it plays the correct spark direction, and I just, yeah, all these numbers are based on the size. It's just a lot of testing stuff. I've been talking about this for like an hour now. I wonder like how much detail I need to go in with all this stuff. I'm showing all the code. You just have to figure all that stuff out yourself. Like I did. I am trying to, like, some of these notes are for myself if I ever want to come back into these videos and figure out how I did something. So I also need to keep in mind that I'm talking to myself in the future as well. Potentially. Alright, so that's how particles work. They're not that hard, but they're time consuming, and they take a lot of, like, I don't know how you would say that. It's like, they're simple to execute but hard to master, or is that what you want to say? They're easy to do to get working, but they're hard to get working right. There we go. I think that's how I would say it. So I showed the oxygen meter. Last thing is the anchor and chain. That one is a thing. I think I copied that code over, so that's good. I was smart to do that because this one's actually really cool. I can find it. Ship. Alright, so you create the ship in the stage thing, right? This is how the ship draws surfaces and does wave effects. But at the bottom here, I create the anchor. I create the anchor at a certain position X, and then room height minus 85 is 85 is like the size of the sprite, minus 2 to get the anchor where it's supposed to be. Okay, and then it creates the anchor, and then this anchor displays this timer, which this is just so that I can see how long the room actually lasts. So that's for testing, really. This timer counts up. When the timer is above 600, it starts moving towards the ship. If the distance to the ship is a certain thing, it plays my old exit game code and goes back to the world map. So this is the stage timer. And then it creates this chain. And this chain is the fancy thing, does all this stuff. So the chain just follows the anchor. So I found it was better to make the point that moves is the point that you need to start from, because that is like, that doesn't actually change, but the part that it's going to actually does, it draws in chunks. So it looks better if the part that is moving is the part that it's not. The part that it's moving is the part that it's anchored to. In this case, is an actual anchor. So it's kind of funny that that's how that works. Anyway, sets up this distance variable, which is point distance. Anchor, the first is the thing that it's actually anchored to. So it's anchored to the anchor in this case. And it's moving towards the ship, and this is the ship's like where the anchor comes out, this position. Sprite width is the width of the object, the sprite. No, that's not working. Alright. Right, this is the anchor, or this is the chain. So for the chain, I just did like 1 pixel on both sides of the chain part of it, and then the loop. I found it was better the smaller it is, and it probably would be even better if it was an even number, so that you can get the origin to be in the middle of this chain. But it still looked okay. So that's how you do this, and then you go to texture settings and check tile horizontally. You can do this vertically as well if you set it up that way. Alright, so it's getting the width of that same thing. The point direction is this way, so it's drawing this thing. I don't know. It's creating as many as is needed to get to that point, right? And that's how it draws that chain to be the right size. So that's how that works. Alright. Geez, that's everything. An hour and 19 minutes to talk about all that. I think I can just hide this now, right? I don't need it anymore. Gone. Let's move on to stages. Let's do something new. Right, so stages, pretty simple. I need this one as my reference because this is the one that's actually set up correctly. And I've cleaned this up to look pretty good. So if I wanted to be really specific, I should also clean up, or I should figure all this stuff out before I start copying and pasting things, right? I think this is set up right. Actually, adding extra lines doesn't really affect the performance. I just do it because I'm a perfectionist and I want things to look neat. I guess every coder's got their way of doing things. Like I know coders that put this right behind here, but I just like being able to see them on the same line and knowing that this one connects to that one without you know, this is the easiest way to see that that is the endpoint of this one because they're on the same line in the same tab. It's just very obvious, right? So I kind of like setting it up like that. Unless it's just, if it's only one or there's no else, then I'll just tack it onto the end because then you don't care, right? But if it's this, where there's something happens in this one, else something happens in this one, I like to separate it. So I should probably figure out like where the well goes, where these background fish should go before I start anything else. Because these are in here, but they're probably not going to be in the shallow spawner. And I don't want to copy that part of the code, right? But I'm probably just gonna like copy pieces to make sure I don't screw anything up. So let's just go like, let's start with that and the coral. And we'll figure it out from here. So we're making the floor here. We've got a skybox, but we want to do this instead of that. So we make a skybox, we make that, and then light render for night. I wonder, did I ever even set up the eels to glow? I don't think I did. I mean, they don't really matter because it doesn't get super dark, but I don't think the eels are in there. No. So it does get night and it will get kind of dark, but it's never dark enough in a shallow area that the eels have to glow. So hopefully that doesn't look too bad. Alright. We create the ship. Coral back. We've got light rays in this one. We don't want those anymore. We're cutting out all light rays because they break particles. Instance create depth water surface. That's good. And then we create the walls that we need randomly. And then this x minus 500 is making sure that if something spawns on this thing's x, it spawns off the screen. So what I want to add here, this one definitely has colorful fish, right? It's a coral, so it makes sense. So where's my colorful fish one? This one. So let's copy this in. I think they can be spawned immediately. There's no reason they can't move right when the player enters the screen. So we'll throw them down here. Uncomment this. And I think 20 fish, well, it's 20 fish max. So they can be 0 to 20, depending on what this rolls. And in fact, I think there's a better way to do randoms, which I should change my code. I learned this later, but instead of using choose 1 or 2 for 50%, just use if random 1 is greater than 0.5. So this is 50%. This is 90%. Well, if it's greater than, this is actually, if I did less than, now this is 50%, this is 90%, 80%, 70%, 60%, right? This is a lot easier instead of using that. And you can change it really easily with instead of adding numbers, which I like to do. So, you know what? Why not? Just do that. I'm not going to do this to all my code, but I am going to do it for this part at least. Because if I want to change the rarities of the spawns, it's just way easier to do it with this code. And actually, now that I'm thinking of it and I don't forget, I'm going to go into my notes that has this in there, which is the random scripts, and I'm just going to use less than. Yeah, I even did it wrong in here. I said if 0.7, that's 70%, and that is incorrect. That's 30%. That's 7%. And this is backwards. There we go. Or it's near 70%. I don't know if this takes into account the 0.7 itself, which would be 7%. I don't know. It's close enough to 70% to just call it 70%. It's like minus 0.2 decimal or whatever. Fuck it. That's close enough to be 50%. I think to actually make this 50%, you'd have to add the equals onto it. But who cares about that extra 0.01? Oh, I got two ifs here. Alright. There we go. Background fish. And I think this is set up in a way that I don't like. So when it's just a single value, I much prefer just tacking it onto the end. Because that makes it a lot easier to read. Repeat 20 times if that, instance create this. But I do think I need to do this. I don't think it matters and it would run correctly, but this will make sure that it runs this 20 times. Which I think it would anyway, but it looks nicer. So I'm going to add the brackets on just to make sure. And if I ever want to add anything to it, I just throw it in the back bracket there. It's a lot easier to comment it out too when it's only one line. Okay, so that's a create event. We got the skybox. We got the creatures getting created, the walls and everything. This one was already mostly set up because I tested it. Okay, this alarm 0 is my exit command, which we don't need anymore. As long as we make the ship, we technically have that part. This is its own line, so that makes that cleaner. If global spawn, and saying that is completely pointless. If global spawn, that just makes it true. And this is if it's false. That's a lot better. I sometimes just do it in a weird way, but there we go. If it's on, turn it off. All that says. And this alarm 0, delete that. Draw. So this is for the alarm 0. We can delete that too. This one has an alarm 1, which is creating clouds. So that one's still necessary. This is seagulls. I'd just say, you can see, like, I think I've been improving a lot at my coding. I'm starting to understand all the like nuances a lot better. So we can do that. Repeat 3 times and it just looks nicer. And in fact, you don't even need this part anymore. So there, if global times greater, though with these repeat commands, I do kind of want, oh wait, no, this is bracketed, good. Yeah, I like the brackets on repeats. This has an else, so I want to keep that separated. This is important for telling me what everything does. But I could use repeats from all this. If I did it again, I would structure the code totally different now. This is unnecessary. I'm gonna set all this up because I'm about to copy this code. I kind of just want to make it look good, look correct. That way it looks good in every single bit of the code. This makes changing the number of jellyfish that I create a lot easier to change because I just change that number instead of having to add extra ones in. And it makes the code shorter, which makes it a lot easier to look through everything. In fact, I'm going to do this. Just easier to navigate the code now. This one's got two different types of creatures, so I think I will keep it separated. One day we're going to play ActRaiser on stream. The game that I always wanted to stream and put on YouTube, I just never did. I think I had like video capture problems. There's a lot of games that I tried to play, retro games, that I just couldn't capture with my old setup that I want to play. And this is like everything, so copy that. This is 3 jellyfish. Three salmon. One turtle, one crab. I think turtles I'm making, I like this one stage that you can get, where you can get 3 turtles, which is kind of cool. But for balancing, I think turtles just give too much loot. Like, the amount of loot you get from a turtle where you can get 10 every time it spawns is just way more than anything else. And turtles aren't really dangerous at all, so it's just the best way to farm meteorite fragments, and I think it's a little too much. I need to set up something to where maybe you can only farm like 10 fragments off of 1 per level, or the chances of them spawning is just a lot lower. I'll have to figure that out when I do balancing. For now, I don't care too much. There we go. That's a lot cleaner. And look, that huge line of code is now just that, so that's cool. I do think this is the best way to do spawn, right? We're setting spawn to equal 0 or 1 if you're in a low upgrade, or 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if you're in a high upgrade. Which I can't think of a better way to do that. I mean, I could use iRandom for this kind of thing too. It's probably what I should use. But this works as well, so it doesn't really matter. And if I wanted, you know, one to be more likely, I could easily just say, now there's twice the chance you'll get one. So I think that makes it easier to balance than doing it the other way, right? Because if I wanted just like a little bit more likely to get this one, that's an easy way to do it without getting into weighted randoms, which I do know how to do if I ever needed to. Alright, so there you go, cleaned up code. This is all good. I don't even know if the global spawn is necessary here, because I think eels just spawn. But if I put... Oh yeah, I'm supposed to put crabs in these stage, aren't I? I just never did. Let's do that. So that's why this was split up. Because this is where I would add that if that was a thing, and it will be. Create a crab, and I'm just going to say if random 1 is less than 0.5. Let's just have a 50% chance of a crab in a stage, because crabs make it a lot harder. You can't really go to the bottom of the screen if a crab's there. But crabs do carry extra loot. And I think everything's good in Coral Spawner now. We should probably test it. I should put changing the night on like a hotkey. The problem is the way it changes slowly over time. I'd have to set like the night box on a hotkey as well. Wouldn't be that hard to do. Alright, let's go to here. There we go. There's our coral area. They die correctly. Nice. We got background fish. I wonder if they're behind the wall or in front of the wall. It doesn't really matter, but they're in front of the wall. That's cool. I'm cool with that. Oh no, they weren't behind it. Okay. That's fine. Got the background fish. It looks good. Yeah, this is working fine. We didn't roll the crab. This is not in the stage. So the idea is I'm probably going to hide like an item on one of these coral areas. And yeah, at some point you'll just have to come one of these coral areas, maybe like kill eels, and then you'll randomly kill an eel that'll drop an item you need to progress in the game. I think that's what I'll end up doing. I love the flashing on the bubbles. It's a really good indicator that, hey, you need to go up and breathe, which was very much missing in the game. Before I would die to this a lot if I didn't change the upgrade. I just gotta make sure when I create this item it does not fall out here, because you won't ever be able to get it if it falls out there. One thing I'd like to do is test this out. That looks good. This would be a great place to see these explosions, because they collide with walls. There's 0 lag right now, so whatever lag I was getting before is either because the room was bigger, which is possible, or just the dynamic light system causes a lot of lag. Hey, is he not triggering anymore? Is he dead? Uh oh, that's a bug. I think he died without actually dying. And I don't know what caused that bug, which is the worst kind of bug. You know, I should probably make the crab be behind the walls, because it looks weird walking in front of them. And it would make the crab even more dangerous in the coral areas. Also, I didn't think about this, but shadows, the way they show up and how it interacts with walls. I guess this is fine, like player shadow being on top of the wall. I think I want crabs to be behind corals in these zones, because that'll look better, and it'll make the crabs like immune if they're behind the wall. Makes them even harder to kill. Which, to do that, I need to know what my depth of coral walls is, which is here. So the walls are at 99. So behind that is 100. Sadly, I think floors are 100, so if I do that, this crab might ends up behind the floor, which is not ideal. So I'm gonna have to like make the walls at 98 so that crabs can fit in there. We're gonna have to like roll a random crab. I didn't get a crab. Alright, if I use escape, I won't have to make this drive every time. Oh, golly. Yeah, this is way too dangerous. I like the random nature of this. Sometimes it's not going to be fair, which is kind of okay. Just kind of make the best of the situation you're put in. And it's up for the player to decide whether they should risk it. Okay, so he's behind the wall. That worked really well. Yeah, it makes him a lot harder to kill. I'll probably lower how much health the crabs have. I don't know. I couldn't even kill him there with an upgrade. But I like that. I'm just afraid that if he rolls incorrectly, what else is at 100? 100 is... Okay. Actually, 100 is just the ship, so that'll work completely fine. Rewrite this. Yeah. The crabs being at 100 is completely fine, because they're never going to be where the ship is. So there's no conflict. Cool, I like that. Okay, next one is... I really wish I'd not deleted this. I don't remember how big these areas are. Oh, I guess I can just go to the room to figure it out. So, corals are shallow. Shallow. I think oil spill, sea, and shipwreckage are all doubles. Right, this is a double. It should be 21. Sea is 21. And oil spill is 21. Deep sea and meteor landing are 30. Is there anything in these rooms that should be deleted? The alien stays. All that looks good. The sea, that looks good. I think camera should always be above spawner. Let's open all these cameras above spawn. I'm gonna check and make sure everything's good. This one, I'm gonna have to set up this wall stuff when I do this stage, because that was just a temporary thing. Figure something else out, like foreground walls. Actually, where even are walls? I guess I made some of these real walls. But I'm probably... yeah, I actually might have that in the stage. Now that I think about it. But that all looks good. Cameras above. Okay. Close all this. Right, so the first thing we want to work on is just normalcy. Not normalcy. Normalcy here. Alright, so this one is missing a lot of stuff. So we've got skybox. Copy that. Place this. Alright, so we make the seafloor. We've got skybox day, light render, but light render needs to be its own. This one's different. I never tried the corals at night, by the way. To create this here. Light render, background ship, sea back. Oh, I already had like render in here. So I guess that's... doesn't really matter where I build it. I'll build it there, just so it's consistent. Water surface at the very bottom. Okay, that all looks good. Okay, I think at the sea, you can start getting wells. Honestly, where do wells come in? I don't think I want wells to be in shallows, though they could work in shallows. Maybe it just needs to be very rare in shallows. So they're definitely not in corals. Deep sea makes sense. They're not going to be in the oil spill or the shipwreck. But deep sea and sea, and maybe rarely in shallow areas, but probably not. I think we'll just keep it a deep sea and sea for now. So yeah, wells will be in this one. And I can create that as soon as the game starts, so this is fine. And we want if and one. Here I'm going to use greater than 9.9, which is as big as you can go. Actually 9.99, I think. I gotta think of where I did like extremely rare stuff. I did it in the world map spawner. .89. I think if you go above a certain level, it won't spawn. That's what I'm checking this for. I think I set this at 8.9 because at 9.9 it just, I don't know, for some reason doesn't ever go to 9.9. But that might not be true either. There's another place where I can look at that. The player, when he makes bubbles. I think I use 9.9 in here and it works. So yeah, I use 9.9 here, and sometimes these bubbles get created, so that should be fine. Let's use 9.9. Oh, and not 9.99, it's just 0.99. That's probably why it didn't work before. Yeah. So, or I could even probably just use 1. Well, this is greater than, so this technically is 1. Or I could just say equal to 1. Let's just do that. So, yeah, technically, the odds of it being 1 are like 1 in 100 that you'll actually see a well. There's no way to really test this other than to enter a stage 100 times until you get a well. I think these fish can show up here. which I'll need to reword this. Let's go ahead and do that now. There we go. Here's the shiny fish. But I want these to be rare as well. Let's do less than here. Let's say this only happens 75% of the time. And if I have the front ones, I definitely want the back ones as well. But I think the way I'm going to set this up is like this. There we go. So if 75% chance, then create the fish. Wait, not 75, we want 25. A lot rarer. I feel like that's probably going to happen too often, but I don't know. I don't even know if this is going to create enough fish. Like, it worked pretty well for the shallows, but we'll see. There's also a thing here. I think the shallows definitely need this stuff. I don't know about the well. I don't think the well's going in the shallows. Let's remove it now that we have it down here. But the other thing should probably happen in the shallows. Let's do the 2.5 as well. But this is a bit different because I want it to be, it should never be both, so one or the other. And I'll probably do that for sea as well. Deep sea won't have colorful fish, but normal sea should probably have colorful fish. So we're going to say if random one again is less than, so the odds of it being, it's probably just 0.5 here. Do this, else do that. Alright, so step one, you have a 25% chance of even having fish, and then once you are in this code, you have a 50% chance it'll be colorful fish, you'll have a 50% chance it'll be shiny fish. I think that's how I want to set that up, because I definitely want fish to show up in shallows. And that's how I'll do it. This one, I'm thinking I'm going to do the same thing. Maybe change the odds. I think it's fine. We'll just keep it the same. But yeah, you just have a point. This is a 0.01% chance of getting a well. I'm not going to reorganize all this as well. Well, we definitely need to get rid of this. And this. And I think that means we can get rid of draw command as well. Oh. Probably want to go ahead and organize all this as well. Luckily, I can pull some of this from here. Change that number to 3. So if global upgrade is greater than 0, yeah, instead of checking this twice, unless that was a silly way to do it in the first place. 2 octopuses, so... I'm pretty certain that this will all tack onto this part. That's how I would imagine it works, but I don't know that for sure. Four salmon, 2 stingrays. That's a lot of jellyfish. How many is that? This is just the jellyfish stage, huh? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 12 jellyfish. And this is probably 12 of these. 1. Yep. There we go. Alright, that's a little cleaner. A little easier to understand. And I think that's it for this one. But I probably want to keep this open for the next one, which is sea, oil spill, and shipwreck. Alright, these ones have a lot more to do. This is the shipwreck. Oh, and these ones don't have sprites yet. So let's see that. So shipwreck only has the one. I'm like 100% certain, so I shouldn't even look at it. So all this image index stuff is not necessary. This wave stuff is necessary. Looks like all this will work fine. Alright. There's our back. So let's create that. Probably should have started with the floor, but whatever. Okay, there's that. Do the floor. Okay, I can minimize some of this stuff now. This is different because it's actually going to be drawn in front of the player. And it might not even have the wave texture on it, I'll see. But maybe not. Because I think this is an actual... This is an actual thing. I'll draw it with it. But this needs to be a floor wall. See if that works. It might not. Alright, so where floor walls go? Foreground is negative 100. I hope that's fine. I found that things that at negative, anything above like, anything that gets to negative 10 doesn't draw in some stages, and I don't know why that has been happening. We'll see if the floor actually draws later. So skybox is in this one. Just like that. Day and night. For this one I had the light render on, which I'm going to do again right here. We need the ship, that's also going to be in this. There's our background, water surface will be in here. No wells. Do I do normal fish? I think no color fish, but probably shiny fish. Alright, so let's grab this. In fact, I might make it 100% chance of shiny fish. Kind of like corals have 100% chance of color fish. Why not? Yeah, okay, get rid of this then. Yeah, okay. We'll just, yeah, it's 100% chance of them. Well, not necessarily, but you should have them if you roll this number. It's just the amounts. Like, the chances of getting 0 is pretty low. But the amounts can change. It's fine. I'm cool with all that. Alright, step event. Get rid of this alarm. This, delete. We can delete this. This shark needs to be repeat 5 times. And that's it with that. And I think that's it. Let's test the shipwreck out then. We can test the sea out as well. Maybe we'll get lucky and get a well. Strong textures. My throat's starting to hurt. I'm amazed that AI is still alive. It's kind of cool. Alright, so first test. Let's do the C. Should be all good. I mean, there wasn't really much that changed here, right? Just the wording of things changed. Everything else works the same, I think. So I have no upgrade. We should fix that before I die. I'm thinking I might want to change the anchor to where it's like at this angle when it's on the ground, but I might want to change it to where it's actually in a straight line when it gets pulled up. Just because that makes more sense to me. Yeah, look, you stay in the stage a lot longer when you're in a deeper stage. So it's kind of up to the player how deep they want to go, because the rewards are a lot better in deeper areas, and you get to stay in these zones longer. But that's also a bad thing, because if you ever die, you lose all your stuff. So, kind of a risk-reward kind of thing. Of course, you've got access to stronger enemy types too. That's what I'm talking about with the turtles. They just drop so much stuff. But I do like them coming at the last second, and you see the anchor going up, and you gotta be like, oh no, we gotta grab it as fast as possible, because as soon as that anchor hits the top, you get kicked out of the stage. Just kind of like how that works. So nice. Okay, we got fish. Ooh, lots of sharks. Oh, I never got rid of this foreground thing. Also, my foreground object's not drawing at all. So that's not good. Oh, these sharks. Alright, that's... yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. There's no way that was gonna work. Let's, gotta go to the room. Right, all this stuff I think I can get rid of right now. Delete. Cool. Alright, that gets rid of the extra stuff. Now the foreground didn't draw because of what I was saying before. I don't know why that is. I should probably look that up. Like why anything I'm drawing at more than -10 doesn't appear on screen. I think I know why it is. Let me look at this. I know why it is. If I go to viewports, viewports and cameras, camera 0. I think the camera has a depth, and that's why it's not drawing anything. I don't remember how to change it though. It's not in here. There's height stuff, there's borders. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, but I don't remember how to change. Wait, is it because it shouldn't be the object that's doing it, but it could be. Oh, camera? Technically the camera is following this thing, but I don't think I set up anything depth related in here. Like, it definitely works because Gozzard has foreground objects that are way further than negative 100. They're like at, I don't know, negative 200, negative 300. So I fixed this problem a long time ago. I don't know how I did it. That or something in Game Maker changed. I hope it's not something in this, like, matrix build. We got 2 from, I don't think so. Matrix camera. What I could do is go into Gozzard and look at this code and see if there's any numbers that are different. That would probably tell me there's something I changed. Let's just try, I've got this at -2, which, okay, so if something is at -9, it's still drawing. It can't be that, but just in case, let's make this -200 and see if it'll draw it. I don't think the foreground's gonna draw unless I set it to like -9.9. Oh, another one. Nah, yeah, there's no foreground, just the background. You can even see the spot over here that I didn't draw because I didn't think I had to. Oh, yeah, I might have to get rid of shark shadows in this level because they're technically, or at least player shadows. No, I didn't think about that. We'll see. Let's get the background to draw first. Kind of important. Also, I think more fish in deep sea areas, or yeah, they look fine. You just can't really see them in this background once you get real deep because it gets too dark. But I guess that looks fine in this top area. All of my normal fish are dying to the sharks. They're just floating away. Alright, so it's definitely not this. Go ahead and remove that. Maybe I'll do a quick Google search, because this is a weird problem. I mean, there's no reason it can't be at -9. I don't think. I wish I was writing down more of this stuff. I know there's stuff that's on the overworld that goes to -9, but not on... I don't know, clouds might be at -9 now that I think about it. It says there's a maximum and a minimum depth of 16,000. Clearly we're not even close to that, and it's still not drawing, so game maker, its manual is not correct. And that Windows depth is not working correctly. Hi there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna look it up later. It'll probably take me a while to find that answer. Let's just do this temporary solution and draw this at, instead of that, negative 9.9. I'm pretty sure 9.9 will draw. For some reason, it's just anything over 10 from my testing. I want to look at clouds. Oh, that's right. There's no clouds in any of this, is there? What happened to clouds? Completely forgot about clouds and seagulls. They're going to have to be in stages. I need to go back later, but for now, okay, let's just test this. And then I gotta remember to put clouds and seagulls in stages. Honestly, I should make the skybox create its own clouds and seagulls. That'd probably be a smart way to do it. Like the night sky creates stars. I could do that. Alright, there it is. So now it actually works correctly. So if this is working correctly, I should be invincible. Okay. I gotta make sure sharks in this stage have to be at a depth. The idea is the sharks are in front of the ship, and as long as you're hiding behind stuff, the sharks can't hurt you. And you won't be able to shoot at sharks that are on the other side of the wall. That's how it's supposed to work. So there's lots of sharks in this stage, but as long as you stay behind the ship, you should be safe. And then I'm gonna make walls around this ship. It's kind of spooky though. I'm gonna make walls around this ship to where you can only enter from like probably over here. Yeah, you can probably only enter from here, go in, and then you have to go to the left to actually get the item. And then to get out, you come back over here and go out. All while avoiding these sharks and doing it within the time limit of the stage. And I'll probably make it to where, yeah, there's just like walls along this, which I don't know if I'll have to draw those walls. I probably will. I didn't plan for that, but just like I did with the coral walls, I'll probably have to draw these walls. But at least it's drawing now and it looks good. I like the wave on it. I don't know if the wave will affect the hitbox though. But I can't shoot at anything as long as I'm behind a wall. Also, the rope part of this makes it like, when are you behind a wall? Officially. I didn't get hurt there. But like, am I behind a wall now? Even though my hitbox is clearly in between these lines. I wonder about right here. I bet I can get hit if I'm here. No. I think I know why, because the ship's hitbox is the full size of its image. So technically the entire thing, yeah, is considered a wall. So that's not good. I need a precise collision mask. Or I need to draw my own collision mask for this. So that only like the beams actually count. And if you're in the rope, you can still get attacked. I don't know. Didn't really think about it that hard. I guess anything that you're behind, it's fine. I'm getting frame drops. It might be because, yeah, this area has a light render. Alright, let's start coming up with some solutions here. First one is to go to stage, shipwreck, shipwreck floor. This thing's collision mask. Yeah, it can't be the whole thing. So, no, wait, we do want an automatic. Just make this precise. And then this is at 9. That means our sharks have to be 9, 9. That's that. The name of this video is going to be crazy. It's going to be like day-night cycle, dynamic lighting, particle effects, tiling objects. It's like all the things that it's hard to find tutorials on, mostly. People will probably click on this video just because it has that kind of information in it, and it's very rare to find that kind of thing. Alright, they are not at the correct place. I don't know why that is. But the collision thing should be correct. Yeah, look, I can shoot them. They can't hurt me as long as I'm hiding behind this pillar. I think if I stand here, it's going to kill me though. Yeah, okay. So don't get caught out in the open. But you can hide behind stuff and shoot sharks from here. But they have a lot of HP. Yeah, hard to kill. Now I just need to get the wall part, but I think I need to draw my own hitbox for this area. Something I didn't do, so we won't be able to get that part working for this stream. But why aren't the sharks drawing at their correct depth? Am I changing their depth? I might be. Enemies. Shark. Create. So nothing about depth here. Instance create depth explosion. Loot. That's it. I'm not changing the depth in the pictures at all. So this shark should be at negative. Oh, I know what I did. I did depth minus 9.9. This is just minus 9.9. That's what went wrong. Alright. That should put it above the floor. No, still not. What the hell? -9, -9.9. Now I can explain it. Does it have to be like a full, I mean, does 9.9 not count? Do I not understand how depth works? That's possible. You know what? Let's understand how depth works. I've been doing this for like all these inbuilt functions. And I'm starting to understand how most of them work, but I don't really know depth, so let's figure it out. Y minus 50 depth. Alright, They're just gonna draw their depth now. Wait, no. What am I doing? This is the wrong object. Copy. Delete. Where's sharks? Did I close it? There we go. Now they'll tell me what their depth is set to. If 9,9 ends up becoming 9, then that's the problem. Yeah, just -9. So you can't do a decimal point, and every time I've done a decimal point, it's not actually doing anything. Is what I'm reading from that. Yeah, that's kind of weird. Like, I kind of get it. Looking at, like, this test room, you won't be able to see this, which is unfortunate, but let's say I've got this player object, and then I've also got this camera. Or, we'll look at the alien. The alien's a thing, this little white box, and then the player object's a thing. They're both technically at 0, the depth of this room, or this layer that they're on. They're both at 0. And I think the way it works is anything that you put on top is underneath, right? So that makes sense, that's how it looks. So basically, whatever I draw first is going to be on top of what I draw second. No, whatever I draw first is going to be below whatever I draw second, if they're at the same depth. And doing decimals doesn't do anything. So I don't know where it gets its like extra bit of depth from, or how it figures out the difference between that. But I know that it can be random too. Like if you do instance create a player and then you create like fish, I don't know if it is random, but I thought it could be to where the fish might be in front and they might be behind. It just kind of depends, and it's not like consistent. So depth is weird, and that's why I've been trying to like keep track of what depth everything is on, because otherwise it's easy to get lost. And I really should have, I failed this, I should have done it better, but I also thought I had a lot more room to work with going up than -9, right? It should, I still don't get why it's only allowing me to go to -9. If I draw at -10, it won't do it. So sharks have to be at 9, and then stage stuff has to be at 8 now, if I want this to work correctly. But now I don't know what other objects I've drawn at 8. Currently what I have written down is clouds can be above it, which won't matter because this is underwater. Clouds are above water. That's fine. I need to figure out why I can't draw anything below or above -10. Because that's weird. There they are. They're above the thing now. That's what it's supposed to be like. So now you feel like you're hiding behind the ship. Oh, and I died. So the idea is there's going to be a wall here and you'll get stuck on it and have to hide back over here. And you got to like go along this and find the way in, which is here. And then I'll probably have the item actually be right here so that you can see that there's something here that you have to go get. It'll probably be whatever it is. So yeah, hopefully the idea is you come here and you're like, how do I get to that item? And then you find your way in. And you can shoot at sharks as long as there's a hole. like that. But if they're on the other side of the wall, it protects them just like it protects you. So yeah, I can't shoot these sharks anymore until they get off there. So that's kind of how that's supposed to work. But it seems to be working fine now. I just need hitboxes for walls and the items to put in. So I will put that on my to-do list so I don't forget. Alright. So the thing that I was forgetting about was, where are you? Shallow spawner. This thing has a step event. This for seagulls, and it's also got this code for creating clouds. But I think I'm gonna put this. I don't know, because I kind of want seagulls to spawn. I guess they wouldn't spawn at night, but clouds still spawn at night. So I think I need to put that on the skyboxes, this code. That way I don't have to do it for every stage, and I can remove it from this. So let's figure that out. Alright, skybox wasn't doing anything anyway. Oh look, I even have this based off of time, so I don't even have to do that. I just do this part. I forgot the repeat part. So here's what I'll do. I'll do, instead of repeat 3, I'll do repeat irandom I don't remember how irandom actually works. If I did like irandom 10, it's 0 to 10. I know if I did random range I could do that. What does irandom 10 actually do? So irandom 9 okay. To get a random number from 0 to 9. So it includes 0. Good. Okay. So this would be, well, that's way too many seagulls. 0 to 3 seagulls. Okay, that's what we do. Has this got 1 too many? No, that's right. Okay, that's fine. And then the other part of this, the alarm for clouds. Look at this. Oh, I'm gonna throw the other part in as well. Was this even working correctly? Oh yeah, because it only activated 1 time. Yeah, sorry, all this code only played once. And all this code only plays once, so it's fine. So clouds are at 197. Do I have that written down? I'll write that down. So I should have differentiated between background or from world map clouds. Alright, let's do that real quick. World map helicopter. This is world map bird. World map. Okay. And then, yeah, I actually had it written down here. I just couldn't see it. So this is stage clouds. This ship is a stage ship. This is world map. This is world map. Alright, there we go. That makes it a little cleaner. The stage clouds is at 197. That's where this is. Good. We set up this alarm. Now we go to add alarm 1 here. This copy, paste, less than 0.5. Create a cloud and reset the alarm to a random range. Cool. Right, so now the skybox does this. We can delete this. And we can remove this from the code. Cool. This. There we go. Oh yeah, remove the seagulls as well. Alright, that is not in any other code, right? So, orals we've done, I'm pretty sure it's not in here. Yeah. Honestly, we haven't done much, have we? We did C. Is it in C? No. Okay, good. So what I want to do is the night as well. So there's no seagulls at night, but there are clouds at night. That goes here. This is messy. Add alarm 1. Copy, paste. Okay, here we go. We've got clouds at night and day. Now what about, I think oil rig will always be no clouds, no seagulls. And the meteor is gonna have like storm clouds probably and lightning, which I haven't drawn. I need to draw. So let's put that on the draw list. Meteor. It makes sense. It's a nighttime sky with the final boss. I want the clouds to be full of lightning. Yeah. So I'm not gonna add clouds or seagulls into this stage. So that's really it with that. Remove this off, and that's good. This is all good. We made a cloud here. Is a mistake. Okay. So that's all I can do with the shipwreck, right? There's nothing else. Until I get the wall in and the item, I think shipwreck is just done. Alright, now on to the oil rig. I've been calling this oil spill. I'll call this oil rig now. It's not really an oil... Well, It's kind of an oil spill because the area is just very dark, like 100% dark all the time. That's the whole idea of it. So I'm just gonna call it that. Should be fine. Because if I go to the room, this creates oil rig spawner. And we can rename this. Let's just be consistent with our name. I've named everything else oil rig. Also, was there anything in this that shouldn't be? No, it looks good. Alright, so we need oil rig objects. Did I get rid of every window? Yeah. Let's duplicate this. Right, stage, oil rig, that one. Create, there's no index on this one. Move that. Those are set up correctly. Now on the spawner, we want to have reference. That's C. Create. Alright, so yeah, I can just copy this whole thing over, can I? Almost. I don't want fish or wells in this area. I didn't put wells in the shipwreck, did I? I don't think I did. No. Good. We just want all this stuff. Alright, so C changes to O. Oh wait, this is completely unnecessary. It is always night at the oil rig. Which, I haven't really thought of how that's gonna work, but whatever. Do I need to create a new light render for this area? Probably. Like a specific one that's just darkness. Yep. Wait, I did that backwards, shit. Wait, what's wrong here? That should have worked. We'll rig back. Did I spell it wrong? There we go. Must have. Alright, that's all we need. This light render though, I think I need a new one. Specific to this area. Control D. Oil. Creation, that's good, that's good. Draw. Surface. Global time we don't give a crap about. So I gotta cut all this stuff back out. Okay, night box we don't care about. This whole clamp thing is just wrong. We just need to have one. It's not necessarily true because above the surface you should be able to see. I don't know, let's try it at 1. I might actually like it just all being dark. Well, that's right, I don't have anything that glows either. Maybe I don't even do this way. Because technically the ground is glowing in this area. Because a lot of this is completely unnecessary. Enemy explosion's fine, but enemy explosion low. I mean, this will take a lot off of this as well. We do want bullets. We want loot. We don't want anglerfish. I should take oilfish off of the other code, because this is the only place an oilfish ever shows up. There's no crabs in here, no turtles, sharks. None of this stuff shows up here. This is probably another way I can further optimize my code. Let's look at this real quick. So, any of this stuff could show up in a light render area. And actually, if I made a separate light render for each type of area and just added what could show up in those places, it would probably increase in performance a bit as well. Let's get rid of this, at least for now. Alright, so just the oilfish, the loot, the bullets, sparks, flare. That stuff all needs to be in here. Also, I hope changing the name didn't break anything. I don't think so. This is the thing I need to adjust for the view. But I gotta have it like follow the view. I don't really know how to do that without testing. I don't want to do that right now. I'll do that when I do balancing. Honestly, this is all silly. Alright, I think we tested that out, but we're not done with this yet. Oil rig spawner. So we've got the new light render oil. Now step event, don't do this. And this needs to be, oh, we've got randoms. Okay. One is 5. Repeat. Six times. Oh wait. Oh yeah, this is different because this was rolling a new one for each one of the repeats. Do I want a random number of fish? That's the question. What I could do is like a consistent number of 3 fish and then a random chance with the other 3 fish. Try that. So you're always going to have at least 3 fish, but there's a chance there'll be 3 more. This stage without any fish in it would be really lame. Let's use this code. Now, I did say you're always going to have 3 fish. There we go. Beat 3 times. Make 3 of these guys, and then 50% chance to make one of these 3. Each of these 3. That gives a random number of fish. If you get 6, it's going to be pretty challenging. Like, honestly, 3 of these guys is pretty hard to deal with. So it might just be a balancing thing. I'll change the number of that later. But when you go into this area, you'll probably want a submarine because it's all black. Let's test this, but I need to get rid of you. And I need to get rid of you. Alright, now let's test this. I don't know if I'm going to like all black. Maybe I just make it like all one alpha level, which is just kind of dark, with all my lights turned on. I think that's probably what I did. Maybe it even gets brighter the closer to the bottom you get. That'd be interesting. Reverse the direction of it. Because it's got like glowing plants. I don't know, it's just kind of extra fantasy. But it's got glowing plants at the bottom. So I kind of want you to be able to see that. Ooh, crash. Ah, I see. I went to room go to oil spill. That doesn't exist anymore. I think that's part of the ship object. But actually, I can use this fancy thing to search for oil spill and make sure that doesn't happen anywhere else. Find all. So there it is in 2 places. The alien. See? If I hadn't checked that, this would be wrong as well. This is oil rig. And this one. Oil rig. This is great. I love this Control-Shift-F thing, which is also in edit, search and replace. So yeah, Control-Shift-F or just go to edit, search and replace. Pulls up this little thing. And this will let you search everything in your code for this. And so many times I've just gone digging through code looking for stuff. This is amazing. Definitely, definitely cool. Definitely should use that and should know about that if you're working with Game Maker Studio. Alright, let's test again. This is super dark. Oh yeah, this isn't good. You can't even see the oil rig. The surface line being very bright is bad. I died. That anglerfish came out of nowhere. Oh, at least then you can kind of see it. Oh man. Yeah. Oh man, these things are obnoxious. And then there's all this like cool plant life down there. Yeah, I'm not happy with this. I'm thinking probably just a lesser alpha value so that you can see this stuff. And the ship needs to be in a different location here. I think the ship should be off to the left in this room. This room only. Or off to the right, which would be just below the anchor. Makes sense. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to put the ship in this area over here. And then make it not so dark. So darkness is kind of the whole point of the area. Alright, so let's look at this. This part needs to be somewhere else. Let's start with here. Grab. Ship this. Alright. I want you to be here, I think. Which is 1568. That means the player's entrance is at a different spot. I wonder if the player entrance is based off of where the ship's located. That would be sweet if I set that up already. I know that the chain will just automatically, it's based on where the ship is, so the chain will be fine and should still work. But I don't know if the player comes out at the right spot. So let's look at it. Player. So entrance. Create. No, it's not based off of where the ship is. Which is unfortunate. If I'd figured out that, I could have come up with these numbers and they would have worked in both cases, which now I'm going to have to do. The Y doesn't matter, it's just, I just need to change the X. Which actually, this isn't too hard to do. Right, I just need to do the difference between this one, 928, and the new one, which is 1568. Right, so 928 and 1568. Obviously, we want to add here. $640. But no, I think about it, 640 doesn't help me at all, does it? No, I need to be... I don't care about the distance between those two. I care about the distance between the player where the player starts. So, what I want to know... 928 going to 736 is... So it's 192. I don't think this will work. So this is... What was it again? 192. Minus 192. So that's what I would want. But the problem with this is the player is created before the ship, which will cause a crash. So I need the ship to be created first. But that's easy enough to do, I think. Ones. Okay, so it was 928. Oh, these are pluses. Oh, this is just background ship X. Easy enough. $960. So this is 928 to 960. That's 42. Is it 42? 928. 2 is 30, and then 30 to 60. Oh, 32. That should put it where it was based on the ship. And now I just need to draw the ship first. The Y doesn't matter because that doesn't change. Alright, so what I want to do here is go... Oh man. I think a lot of my code relies on the player being active. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could do this. What calls on O player? A lot of things. Alright, so we have light render, looks for oil, or looks for player. So I just want things that could possibly be created before the ship or the player. So light render, octopus, stingray, bullet, shark, eel, crab, jellyfish, light source. So as long as the ship is created before light source, that's fine. The ship and the player. Alien. Okay, alien starts in the room, so that's something that would cause a conflict. So I need to create the alien after the player. Camera, which that's possible. Okay, camera follows player. Camera. So if the player's not in the room, camera's gonna crash. It's not the best solution, is it? One thing I can do is just set it up to go to its normal spot and then shift over. If room... I wonder if I can check what the room equals. I could do it that way. I'm gonna have to do this for the meteor as well. I didn't want to do... It would be a lot easier if he just come out where the ship was, but the big problem with that is I create the ship after the player. And this is the creation for the player. So, you know, this doesn't work. I don't want to write these numbers down though. Okay, I think I know what I need to do. It's not easy. But in the step event, I'm just going to have to shift them over if the room is the oil rig, which isn't going to look good. It's going to be like that first frame, you're going to see the player spawn where they normally spawn, and then they're going to shift. So it would be better if it's done in creation event. So it should be done right here. So instead of just being based off the ship, I should just figure out where it's supposed to be at and change it here. Alright, so how do I do this? If room... I might be able to do this. If room equals... Oh fuck, which one? What's the name of oil rig? Oh, it's just oil rig. If room equals oil rig... Alright. Else it'll... X equals that. So I need to convert this to a number that works. Okay, let's do that. So the second one was 1568. So 1568 minus 192. $13.76. I guess this is a functional way to do this. Honestly, this XY for the ship might be fine. I don't know. I'm going to do something completely different when it comes to the final boss area. I don't know what it is yet, but I'll figure that out later after I do the alien. Alright, so this is what I want. Copy this. Paste this here. Because that's the exact same. Now this one's going to be different. Do that, and then change this to 960. All right, 960, 928. And these values have to be changed to whatever it's supposed to be. So 1568 plus 32. That's perfect, 1600. Okay. And this one's just the same, so 1568. I know I've said that number like half a dozen times, but yeah, that is correct. Okay, good. Alright, this should be working now. So yeah, it'll go to the point we were at before, unless we're in room oil rig, then it'll go to this point. And now that should work fine now. Alright, let's test that. But we haven't changed the light render, so let's do that first. Because it would really help if we could see what we're doing. So I want to change this to be, instead of 1, let's try just 0.5. A flat 0.5. That's kind of better, and you can see the background really good. Everything's a little dark, but not too bad. And this is all bright. Oh, and I'm gonna die. Yeah, there we go, fixed it. Wait, did I come out the right spot though? I wasn't even paying attention to that. We should be on the right side of the screen when we start. I didn't even look at that. Yeah, cool. Let's upgrade and die. That was close. And then do it again. Okay, that's good. And now, how do we do this without... Oh, I see. We just have to run out the clock. I want to test all the different forms. I thought about giving the bullet splash damage, but I decided against it. I don't know if I probably should do that. So that the explosion itself is a bullet. That. I'm cheating. Ah. Oh. Yeah, I like it better when it's not super dark, just a little dark. Just looks prettier. Alright, there we go. Start, that was good. So the way lights work when you come out started is strange. I don't care that much about it though, because this is the only place that would ever matter. Splash it. Ah, they're as fast as the loot is. That's really annoying. God, they got a lot of health. Probably too much. Though it is challenging. Instead of if you screw it up once, you lose your upgrade. I have set it up just right for like the bullet firing speed and how much they get slowed down. Alright, that's all good. I am really happy with that. So you can't just like, before, the way bullet speed works is as they got closer, the bullet would be on screen less, which means another bullet would come out faster. So any enemy you can kill just by holding the fire button, they basically get stun locked before they can get to you. Now there's like that little bit of reload that I added to it. This is the difference that it makes, is that you can't just stand here shooting. Eventually you're going to have to move if you haven't killed them. Also, this guy started way too high. I need to fix that. I just noticed that. That's right, oilfish were programmed different than the anglers. They can start anywhere on the map. I need to change their numbers. I wouldn't mind splash damage. I think it would be a nice little addition. Alright, I'm cool with that. That was actually pretty good. Right, but the one thing was oilfish. Alright, what's wrong with y'all? So there's nothing about Y here. Right, this. What is this gotta be? Salmon 250. And I think that's really it. This is where it spawns, and it doesn't change from 250, but it might not. Honestly, I don't think it matters now, because it's never going to chase you higher than that, because you can't go any higher than that. So, I think that's it. I wouldn't mind giving them a different scale. Oh, they have a different scale here. Oh, this is the explosion style scale. Oh, their random is between 1 and 1.5, so they don't get small. I guess that's fine. Alright, that fixes it. Now they can't spawn in the air. That worked. This is done. Alright, yeah, that's, yeah. I'm happy with that. Spawner. Oil rig spawner. Was there anything else in this? No. Alright. I think that stage is done. We're at 3 hours now. Let's knock out the rest of these stages. We're almost done. It's just deep sea and the meteor itself, which I don't think I'm going to do the meteor until I get the alien done. Because that's its own, like, day of stuff. Or actually, I'll probably end up doing alien stuff tonight. Maybe I'll end up streaming it. My throat is killing me, though. I'm gonna have to like mute the stream soon if I'm gonna keep streaming. Because I'm gonna not be able to talk here in a little bit. Okay, deep sea. Go to this. So, deep sea floor, skybox needs to be changed. Let's go to C. This. Copy. Paste. Light render is fine, but I want it to come out the same place other ones do. Background ship, deep sea back, water surface, create a cloud, no. I don't have cloud right, no. I do want fishes, but no color fishes. But I do want well. Have to adjust that. So, the well can show up here, but this needs to be none of these guys. Alright, and I think I need way more fish in a deep sea area. I'm worried I'm going to end up like lagging the game if I create more than this though. Because that's already a lot of objects. I mean, no, Game Maker Studio should be able to go to like something ridiculous as far as objects, like 20,000 or something. So my 100 fish shouldn't really affect my performance that much. Let's just double the numbers, 40 and 80. We'll try that out. We'll see how bad it gets. But then again, it's always laggy in the deep sea area. Alright, I've got to clean all this code up before I start copy pasting. So this is the last deep sea area, so the meteor definitely won't have any fish or things to spawn besides the alien. This is the last time I have to do this. Alright, so repeat 2 times. Nice. And change this to rid of this. Oh right, I didn't even have a spawning thing in this, and I just had it to where anything could spawn in a deep sea area. I'll probably do like randoms of how many as well. So anything can spawn at random numbers. I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. So all this is the same except for anglerfish. I think I'm just going to copy this code. So that's jellyfish, salmon, octopus, stingray, anglerfish, crab, turtle. Get rid of all of you. Nope. We gotta do the depths. So let's do jellyfish, octopus, and then salmon, stingray. There's no sharks? There should be sharks. Oh, there's shark. just forgot about it. Alright. Need the depths, so you're 2, you're 3, you're 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay. That's a lot more condensed. So I think I want random values on this as well, and probably this needs to be different. Let's say a 0.2 on a turtle, 0.3 on shark, 0.4 on that. Anglerfish are really annoying, but I do want them in the stage, so yeah, 0.5 is fine. And maybe 0.5 for everything above. Maybe stingrays are less likely than salmon, because salmon are more common. So we'll do like 7s on these boys. Octopus. Oh, the previous way I had it was, I don't remember because I've already deleted it. I think it was, there was a random on each individual spawn? No, it wasn't like that. It was like if it happened, but they both spawned. So this is technically the same. Alright, so all I want is some randoms on this. So let's do high random. Alright, so how many jellyfish? Let's just throw like a 0 in here for now. Alright, things that I can have random numbers of. I think all the basic stuff makes sense. Honestly, I think all this can have a random, except for turtle. There's only ever one turtle. It's a low % chance that you'll get a turtle, but you only get the one. Alright, so now I just change these numbers to what the maximum amount it could be is. So I think 4 jellyfish, or actually let's do 6. I like jellyfish, they're an easy enemy. And they're not too difficult. Probably 3 octopus. Salmon aren't too bad. We can do 4 of them. Stingray 2. Anglerfish I want up to 3. Crab up to 2. Shark up to 2. And these can be zeros as well. So that means even if it does trigger, it doesn't guarantee you're going to actually get one. So that's another layer of maybe you don't get it. Like for this shark, you've got a 0 point or a 30% chance, but then you've also got another 33 that it might not even spawn one. Which I think is probably fine. I can change these numbers pretty easily now. So that's probably fine. Okay, alarm 0. Get out of here. Draw. Don't want it. Should be everything with the deep sea. Let's hope this doesn't cause problems. So there's a shark. Oh yeah, the depth's still drawn on the shark. I should fix that. Oh, there's another shark. 2 sharks. We got 1 octopus. We got a turtle. I think that's it. 1 turtle, 2 sharks, 1 octopus. I guess that is a thing that you could get too little as well. It's possible to get 0. Actually, that could work out in my benefit because I have an idea for if you get 0, something special could happen. Which I'll set that up. I like that idea. It could be 0. I'm gonna write that here. I'm not gonna say what it is, but there might be a surprise if you manage to get nothing in your level, which is very rare. Probably, yeah, very unlikely to happen, but it is possible. I like that. That's fun. All right, let's I'm not gonna do the meteor. Actually, I don't even have a meteor spawner. So, do I have I have a meteor room, which has a weird name to it, but I guess that's fine. Yeah, there's no spawner in this. No alien either. I think the alien I create in this room is going to be totally different. So that's fine. Yeah, I should make a new spawner. I'm at least going to like set up the basics of this and then go into it later. Let's just copy it over and delete. Probably the easiest. Alright. No deep sea floor. Oh yeah, I haven't even created these objects. Look at that. So, deep sea, Control D. Did I call it meteor? Did I call it... Ah, whatever. Oh, that's right. This isn't a sprite. Sprite, stage, meteor, back. And then... meteor floor. Yeah, I think I'm going to try and do parallaxing on this one as well, so there's going to be a lot more to this. There might be 2 layers of floor as well, which actually there should be. Oh, that's right, in the sprite, I think I put them on the same sprite, which is dumb. I should not do that. Yeah, I've got these 2 images. I mean, they can be on the same sprite, but nah, let's not do that. Let's Control D. Control D? There we go. What happened? Alright, this is floor 2. Oh. I've seen this error before. Save. It like gets out of sync or something with itself. Oh, that's your floor 2. I think I just opened this like 3 times. My computer's struggling. What's going on? There it goes. Floor 1. Delete. Delete. There we go. There we go. We got floor 1, floor 2. Alright, you. You're now floor I might have to close out the thing, open it back up. Let's finish stages, and then I think I'll call it. Honestly, I feel like I should have named this one 1, but whatever. This is technically the one that's in front of that one, I think. No, this is behind. Yeah, this is right. Okay, this is for waves. Step. This image index is not necessary. It's going to be the same here. Okay. Close that and that. Same deal here. All good. Meteor spawner, okay. We want background meteor for 1. Copy that. Paste that there. Alright, what are my 4 depths? So these are being spawned at 200. Okay. This is 201 is now, that's behind. Yeah. That's for 2. There we go. That'll be properly layered. There is no nighttime, so get rid of all of that. This skybox isn't correct. Meteor. Okay. Light render. I think I am going to have lights in this, but it's going to be its own light render thing. I'll just put that. Remember to change it. Background ship. Probably do something different there. This I can throw in. Water surface, which will probably be its own thing. Also, I gotta test something again real quick. This is all set up correctly. So it should have a step event, right? There we go. Alright, so this will work. It's just not set up quite right. We're going to need a light render and a new water surface. The thing I wanted to test, I forgot about the in the oil rig, what the water surface looks like. It's probably fine because I didn't notice it after I changed the alpha value of the sky, the darkness. But I should be able to just go into the meteor area and look at it. Let's look at this. The surface is a bit bright. Maybe I want to lower that. Okay, I know why. Yeah, usually that's not an issue because most of the zones you go into, it's actually fully bright when you're at the top and it gets dark when you go under the top. You don't see that. But in these areas where it's always going to be lights off... Ah, fuck, why did I press that button? Yeah, where it's always going to be lights off, the water surface probably needs to reflect that, but honestly, it only matters for this one area. because the meteor is going to have its own color of water, probably orange. So it's just, is it so bad that I feel like it needs to be corrected here? I feel like, not really. It's kind of right for this area, but it's also like, who cares? Right? I think it's fine. Let's go to this other area. Woo! Okay, we got no background or anything in this area. And I know exactly why. We made this meteor spawner, but we never put it in the room. Try that again. God, my throat's killing me. I might take a lozenge. What happens when you're a quiet person most of the time? Start streaming. It actually usually happens to me. It's just, today's a lot worse than the norm. There we go. Got a background. And it scrolls left and right. A really big stage. Let's upgrade. So, I don't know, I'm gonna do something different with the ship. It's not gonna have this stage timer thing, no anchor. Here's the bottom. Oh yeah, this looks cool. I'm probably gonna have something different for the light render here. Probably kind of like the oil one. I'm gonna have the opacity set at like 0.5. I'm gonna do its own custom thing. Yeah. So you can always see the background. And then I'd love to get parallaxing working on this one, so that as you go over, it moves at different speeds. Would look really good. So there's only like the 2 layers. And then yeah, if I make the top orange, it'll look really nice. So that's the idea. I'm going to turn this water surface orange. I'm going to get rid of this system with the anchor for this level. And I'm going to try and get parallaxing working on objects that have a wave texture on them. You see this is animated. So I need to get that working. And then I'll start drawing the alien stuff. So I might do the alien before I do the stage stuff. We'll see. But all that works correctly. So whatever, here, windows, everything's closed. Go up here to do stages is done. Cool, so yeah, I can now do everything related to the alien. I definitely do want to stream that, but I don't want to talk. So I think I'll set up all the stage stuff that I just talked about, because I just kind of did all that kind of thing. I'll do that tonight. I'll try and do things that aren't related to the alien. So there's the things that, like, I can do the wall for the underwater level. I can do the storm clouds. So I might do some artwork stuff and put off the alien stuff for tonight. I might even get all the items into the game, because I kind of put that off, but I can bring all the items in now. The reason I didn't is because I didn't have a UI yet, so yeah, I guess I should hold off until I have a UI to bring those items in. I can at least do the wall, the lightning cloud, the get the stage set up right, maybe parallaxing working on it, and then we do alien stuff tomorrow. But I'm ending this stream here. Can't take it anymore. Later.